Okay, let's go.
Well, hi, friends of the Coachella Valley. We're here again. This is Jose, your host, and I'm here with
Estefania Moreira, the editor-in-chief.
Now, today we're bringing you a special episode. We reached out to Palm Springs hit place, the Cat Cafe. Guess who we have here? Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Claire Rogers, and I am the owner of Frisky Business Palm Springs Cat Cafe.
Woo! You hear that?
Show.
Oh, man. That sounds awesome. Well, Claire, your accent threw me off. And I love why it threw me off. But start from the beginning. Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
So I have a dodgy accent.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born in Portsmouth, England, to British parents, and they immigrated to Canada in 1974. I am 49 years old. I'm going to age myself here. So I was just...
She looks 32, guys.
I was but a mere baby, literally, when they immigrated. So I was raised in Canada, and I lived in Canada until I was 18 years old. And then I've kind of lived all over the shop. I spent 5 years living in Asia. I lived in Australia. I've lived in many different countries. And then I went back to the UK, and I lived there for 21 years. And I immigrated to America 2.5 years ago. So that's why I've got the dodgy accent, because I'm kind of mid-Atlantic.
You're international.
Fantastic. I mean, and it's so captivating. I mean, I hear you. I got lost in your words. I don't even know what you said. I just know that I love it.
That's what my other half says. I could just listen to you all day long. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound dodgy. Okay.
And so tell me, do you have any siblings?
No, I'm the only one.
Only
Yeah.
child?
Yes.
Firstborns are the bestborns?
Yes,
That's what I hear.
absolutely.
And so when did you go to school at all these locations, I'm assuming, right?
No, kind of a mix. So I went to school, elementary and high school in Canada. And then when I was 18 years old, I moved to Tokyo in Japan. And I was there on and off for 5 years because I was a model. And so, but I thought modeling was the stupidest thing in the world. It didn't interest me. But I realized if you're dumb enough to pay me 10 grand to stand there and look pretty, I'm going to do that.
I'm in.
Wait, so you were like a Japanese model?
Well, not Japanese. I was yeah.
Right.
I can turn Japanese, so I lived in Asia and Australia and so forth for on and off for 5 years, but it was not my passion to be a model. It was literally I fell into it by accident, by mistake, but and I thought it was stupid. I didn't enjoy it in the slightest. Wasn't interested in modeling per se. But if you're dumb enough to pay me 10 grand to stand there and look pretty in a nice outfit, I'm going to do that. And so when I was in Japan, after a couple of years of modeling, I actually went back to school. I went to college. And this was back in the day when we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
This was in the early, this was in the early 90s. And so I was attending college via correspondence, doing my homework and doing my studies, and then sending my papers back to Canada to be graded, and then back and forth and so forth.
So what you're saying is you went to school, grammar school, whatever.
Yeah.
But then at one point in time, when you were in the middle of high school, college, you just kind of took this, get paid. So how young were you when you get your first $10,000 check? Money.
18 years old.
So what does an 18-year-old from England do with all that money? What was your adventure?
Travel. Literally, I have wanted to travel since I was a little girl. So, again, I grew up in the 80s and so forth.
That's exciting.
So I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and so whereas my classmates would be collecting sticker books or hockey cards and so forth, I was actually collecting postcards.
Fantastic.
And my mom had a friend who was a secretary that worked in the same company, and she was from Australia, and whenever she went to Australia, she would send me a postcard. And then my family lived in England, and so they would send me postcards of their travels around England, or if they went to mainland Europe, they would send me postcards, and I had it in a sticker book.
Wow.
And I collected postcards, and so I've always wanted to travel. And my mom said when I was a little girl, hand on hip, one day I'm going to live in Australia and so forth. And so literally I get those paychecks, and I'm not buying the sexy shoes and handbags.
Right.
I'm going to go travel around the world. And that's what I did. So it put me through school, but it also got me to, I've been to 70 countries.
Yeah, so you pursued the dream.
Amazing.
And that's amazing because people nowadays kind of do the, right? They're like, I'll work and study and then I'll travel the world where you have a chance to do that.
Don't do it. This is what I want to say to every kid and youngster out there. Basically, everybody under 49 is a kid to me, especially in their 20s. So I'm sure you're all youngsters as well. I want to say the same thing. Do not sit there and go do a corporate job or a job you do not like, working 12 hours a day and hating it, and then go travel in your 60s and 70s, because tomorrow is not promised to all of us. And most people do not travel around the world because they think it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Traveling does not need to be expensive. It really does not. I've stayed in a lot of cockroach motels around the world and so forth. It didn't kill me. In fact, it just inspired me to go and see the next country, the next country, and so forth.
Right. Well, it sounded to me, you said, don't let those limitations
100%
hold you back.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And the more you travel around the world, you'll realize it's the best education you can ever get. It's better than college. It's better than university.
Right.
Traveling is the best education you could ever get.
A lot of people say that. My friends who travel a lot, they say the same thing.
It teaches you about different cultures, different diversities. It makes you realize how insular your own country can be.
Right.
It can make you realize the limitations and the failures of your own countries and so forth. And it really broadens your horizons.
What was your favorite stop?
Ooh, so I've got quite a few of them.
Okay.
So that's a tough one. So
Well, you're gonna start a war, so you better choose.
I mean, it's hard. Cambodia, I love Cambodia. I've been to Cambodia multiple times, and the people are fantastic. Thailand, I backpacked around Thailand for 5 months. Absolutely amazing. Myanmar, which is formerly called Burma. Very few people have ever been there. I've been there.
Wow.
Amazing. But I would honestly say probably my favorite places in the world, not necessarily for culture, but for nature, is I spent 10 days with research scientists up 500 kilometers outside of the North Pole.
Wow.
And so that was phenomenal. And then my next favorite, again, not necessarily for culture, but for nature, would be the Galapagos Islands, owned by Ecuador.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's phenomenal. So
That's amazing. I mean, to pick up all the knowledge you probably have picked up. I mean, dare I call you a philanthropist? You probably understand some of the culture better than most.
I would say so, but you know what I've noticed the most? If you would turn on the news, you would find it's very negative, and you would think that everybody hates each other.
Right.
And you know what I have realized from, as I say, I've been to 70 countries. I've been to every continent. The only continent I have not been to is Antarctica. Everybody wants the same thing. Everyone wants to be valued. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants a roof over their head. They want food in their bellies, and they want their families to be safe. So turn off the news, because the average person is a really good person and wants the exact same things. And it's an international thing. And the other thing I've noticed, most countries I've been to, they don't speak English. But you know what is an international sign? Smiles.
Oh, that's
all
good.
speak the same language.
Really good.
They all speak the same language.
I love that.
And by you traveling, did you learn languages? Like,
I did to get me by, but I mean nothing.
You didn't stick.
Nothing that stuck and so forth. I understood a lot of Japanese, but I was back in the 90s. I was there for on and off for 5 years and so forth. If I went back to Japan, I'd probably pick it up and so forth. I understand some Spanish, so forth. I spent many months backpacking around South America, again to get me by. But once I leave the country, I completely forget what put me back in it.
Right.
You'll probably be able to do it.
And actually, I found with most countries, I understood a lot more than I could actually say back.
Well, wow. Well, I really want to keep asking you about your past. I don't care for the present and future. Do you, at some point in time, you got inspired to do, why a cafe of all things?
Because, I was in corporate life for 20 years. And when I was, I want to say early 40s. So as I say, I'm 49. So in my early 40s, I happened to be in Charleston, South Carolina. I was still living in London at the time.
Right.
And I walked past this window at night and I saw these cats in the window. I was like, what is this paradise? It's amazing. It's amazing. But they were closed. And then the next day I went in and I practically interrogated the owner and went, oh my goodness, what is this? All these kitty cats, and explain. And it was a cat cafe.
Wow.
And then I started researching it and realized that they had originated in Tokyo. They didn't have them back in the day.
Right.
And so forth. And I initially dismissed it and thought, you know what, I'm too old to change my life. I'm too settled and so forth.
When was that?
So I'm going to guess around 9 years ago.
Okay.
Roughly when I was about 40 and I was living in London. I was at the top of the game in corporate life, making loads of money. Not particularly enjoying corporate life, but I had kind of gotten used to a certain lifestyle and so forth. And I was in a marriage at the time. He wouldn't have wanted me to do a cat cafe. And COVID hit. And not everybody could do this, but I used COVID as an opportunity. And again, not everybody could do that, but I was in London, locked down with 7 million of my closest friends because we were properly locked down. You can't have 7 million people walking around when there's a pandemic.
Yeah.
You had to stay home. We were only allowed out for an hour a day.
Wow.
And so forth. And my family lives in Vancouver, Canada, or just outside of Vancouver. And so I used to go home every few months to see them. Fast forward to COVID, I can't see my family for 18 months. And I thought, you know what, I want to be mindful of my language. I choose not to want to live away from my family anymore. And so I thought, okay, well, if you're going to immigrate and you're going to leave the UK, use it as an opportunity to change your life. Let's do this properly. And so I thought, I'm not going to go back to Vancouver because I've just done 21 years living in a rainy city and I'm out. I don't want to live in any more rainy cities.
Right.
I'm done. And I've been to Palm Springs many, many times since I was 19 years old. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to move to Palm Springs and I'm going to go open that cat cafe.
Well, that takes me to our first commercial. Let's get to it. When we come back, let's talk about what's going on today. Let's talk about your business and let's hear more about those cats. Oh, let's go. Cut the commercial. This commercial spot could be yours. The New Mindset of the Coachella Valley is broadcast throughout Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and all your favorite podcast stations. For more information, don't forget to reach us at The New Mindset OTCV on Instagram or The New Mindset OTCV at gmail.com.
And now we're back.
Okay, so how many cats? And do you know all their names?
Oh, 100%. They're my babies.
I love that.
So, opening the cat cafe did not happen overnight.
Of course.
I thought that would be very easy. Apparently, the idea of cats and coffee is a crazy concept. And so, to open a cat cafe in the Coachella Valley, we're the first and only cat cafe in the Coachella Valley. So, I had to do proof of concept, and I had to convince the city as to why this would be a benefit. I opened last December. And so we're just coming up on our 1-year anniversary, and I have processed 72 adoptions so far. Wow. So all of the cats that live at Frisky Business, I foster mommy until they get adopted. We always have 12 cats. Well, sometimes we go up to 15 cats at any one time. They live at Frisky Business, and they're all from the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, and they're either the black cats that end up spending 75% longer in shelters. I take the ones where their owners have passed away, the ones that have been abused, the ones that just need that extra socialization. Come live with me.
It's fantastic.
Wow.
I mean, that's such a responsibility too.
Yes.
To think about it. Do you what was day one like for you? You open the doors.
Oh my God, it was euphoric. It had taken 16 months to get open. I didn't think I was ever going to get open. I thought I had made a major mistake. I genuinely did. I thought I had made a major mistake. I'd invested so much. I mean, we're talking 6 figures. I'd invested so much money and I could not get off the ground. Every time I hit one roadblock and overcame that, then there was another one that came along, and it became a nightmare trying to get the permits to do it. And I didn't think it was going to happen. And so the day we opened, thank God for that. It's actually happened because I thought I'd just literally wasted a few $100,000 on nothing.
What failed the first day? Something failed, right?
No.
Every time you did, nothing failed. It went without a hitch. You prepped for it for so long.
I think the hardest part was the beginning.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Getting open the door, I'm like, there's a score. This is a novelty. We're actually making money now.
Yeah.
What was the first rejection that you got?
Again, it was before we opened.
Yeah, what was the first rejection before you opened?
The first rejection was the city of Palm Springs have a law, not a law, what do they call it? Some sort of a bylaw, I can't remember, that says that no animals are allowed to overnight in commercial premises. So I had to get past that first hurdle.
Oh.
And then it was, well, what do you mean you're going to have cats and coffee? Excuse me. And so then I had to write papers to demonstrate why I should be allowed to have an exception to that zoning law and so forth. And so we had a lot of that. And then I would say, I don't want to say the word rejection once we were open, but the first challenge is I had to convince and explain to customers, why would you pay a fee to go into a cat lounge? Why would you spend money to hang out with cats?
Right.
Because initially, most people got it. I'd say 95% of people totally understand. It's expensive to start up a business. My overheads are 10 grand a month just to break even. So most people got it. But then you get about 5% of the population who could be a little bit rude about, why would I pay money to pet effing cats? Or so they would swear at me or so forth. They'd be a little bit rude. So then I had to explain that proof of concept of, running a cat cafe and looking after kitty cats, this is not a cheap endeavor.
Yeah, of course.
I have to charge in order just to break even and so forth. So I don't want to say rejection. I want to say just a re-education.
Right.
What is an objective challenge, right? I mean, and what we like to hear from everybody has day one, everybody has challenges, and everybody has these things to overcome. Every person that sat at that couch in the past few months, they've told us basically something not similar, but something that you have to overcome, and that's just the path to success.
100%.
You're saying that you spent almost 6 figures just to get it open.
Yeah.
There were days when you were like, I'm done, I want to quit.
Yeah.
And what stopped you from quitting?
Because I believe in me. I do not take no for an answer. And I have achieved everything I have set out to in life. I have a notebook. I've had vision boards, you name it, since I was a kid. I am going to achieve this in my life. I am going to go travel to this country. I do not take no for an answer. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to get it on my time scale.
Right.
But I believe in me enough that I will achieve everything I set my mind to.
That is really important to let people know, anybody listening, really, because you think that you're going to be able to get it tomorrow sometimes. And that's the thing that you got to remember. That time isn't the factor that you have to factor in.
No.
It's never really the factor. It's more. It's way more.
You have to believe in yourself, and I don't come from money. I come from a family that was raised in council estates. I don't know what the American equivalent of that is, but it's government housing, assisted housing. I don't know how you call that. I do not come from money in a background at all.
Yeah.
Immigrating to America 2.5 years ago, I went through a knockdown divorce and basically signed away my finances to my ex. I came to America with pretty much nothing. I went in the hole to set up my business, but I will not fail. I will achieve everything I set my mind to.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's interesting because we're going to sit here for about the next 20 minutes talking about your success, but getting there took its time.
It took its time, but through adversity, there is always an opportunity. So I kept saying to myself, all of these roadblocks, and yes, I made mistakes along the way as well. I invested in things I shouldn't have done, paid contractors I shouldn't have done. I could have taken an easier path because, again, I'm navigating something I've never done before.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to rock that out of the park instantly. So I made mistakes along the way, trusted some people along the way I shouldn't have done, and so forth. But I kept saying to myself, from adversity comes greatness.
Yes.
And all of these mistakes along the way means that I'm the trailblazer that can teach the kids coming out of college of the desert. Want to be an entrepreneur? Come talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how to do this. I'm going to tell you about the mistakes along the way. And also I kept thinking, I am the opposite of what is sold on Instagram. Because on Instagram, we're sold instant success. Look at me, I made 100 grand in 30 days. I had instant success and blah, blah, blah. I thought, no. I have to show people that success does not happen that way. I mean, if it does for the odd person, awesome, rock and roll. But that's not the...
That's not
less than
that's not
1% of people.
And I think a lot of people look at Instagram and they judge themselves against Instagram, or they judge themselves against social media and go, how come I'm failing? How come I am not achieving what these people are doing? And so I was very public. I was doing Facebook, Instagram. You would see me in 1 minute with makeup and looking fabulous going to an event, and the next minute you'd see me crying my eyes out because I hit some roadblock with the city and so forth.
Right.
I was showing the entire journey
Wow.
with my goal of showing to be an inspiration to others that do not give up on your dreams. You can do this too. So.
That's great. Is that available now? Can I see that?
Yeah, it's all on there. If you go
That's
on my
awesome.
Facebook,
That's
if you go on my Facebook, there's thousands of videos, and you're gonna see me looking fabulous and awesome. It's at some events, and you're gonna see me in my PJs crying at other
That's
events.
fantastic.
You're gonna see it up and down. But again, my goal was, let's put this out there. Let's show these kids, no disrespect, but anybody younger than me as a kid, let's show these kids that
Well, you can
success
do it.
is not
Right.
instant, and if I can do it, you can do it, because I do not have any special superpowers that you don't have.
Yeah, and it's more real. It's raw.
Yeah.
You're not sugarcoating anything, and you're organic.
Yeah.
And well, besides people wanting instant fame, I know people out there really want to see truth.
Yes,
More
absolutely.
than anything.
And that was my goal.
That's
So I thought,
fantastic.
you know what, I am being challenged by the universe. That's what I call it myself.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
am being challenged by the universe so that I can demonstrate to others that they can achieve greatness too.
Fantastic. Well, that was deep.
Great.
Let's cut to the last commercial. When we come back, let's hear a bit about what's going to happen next for you. Let's talk about the future. You have a 1-year anniversary coming up. Let's hear about that. Awesome. And cut to it.
This week's episode of The New Mindset is brought to you by Jeff Mo. Here to tell us more about it is Aussie, one of the owners. Take it away, bro.
Jeff Mo CBD is a brand based in Southern California. Are you dealing with pain, anxiety, inflammation, stress, and more? Make sure to check us out at jeffmocbd.com. Each batch of our product is lab tested for potency and pesticide. Certificates of analysis can be viewed by going to jeffmocbd.com. So don't panic, it's organic.
And now we're back.
Well, what a fantastic story you have.
Yes,
I mean,
great.
there's definitely not enough time to talk about everything you've probably seen. Definitely need to recap a episode 2.
I've done it a lot with other
I'm
people.
sure.
Part 2, part 3, you name it, I'll come
Love
back.
love it. So, what is the next, 5 years look like for you? What's your plan to future?
So have you heard of the term big, hairy, audacious goal?
Oh, absolutely.
So I believe in dreaming big. So I'm kind of realizing part of it right now. So part of my big, hairy, audacious goal is I want to hire individuals with disabilities. And I need the financial means to be able to do that.
Okay.
To re-educate myself, to re-educate my other half, and so forth. So we actually secured a grant from the Department of Rehabilitation, State of California. I signed an NDA, but I can't say the amount. But basically, we got a grant, and just written a 4-month paid internship program. Day 1, we learned this. Day 2, we learned that,
Wow.
and so forth.
Wow.
And my first paid intern with disability started on the 1st of November.
Oh, congratulations.
Wow.
Wow, congratulations.
I am very, very proud of that, and
Wow.
I am receiving an award in January for my efforts to do so.
Congratulations.
That's really important. The big, hairy, audacious goal is I'm going to put this out to the universe. I don't know how this is going to happen,
Okay.
but I'm going to manifest this.
You're hearing it here for the first
Uh-huh.
time, folks.
The big, hairy, audacious goal is I would like to have more cat cafes, more Frisky businesses in the Coachella Valley, with the goal to hire people with disabilities, but also I want to hire marginalized youth coming out of the juvie halls. You're coming out of gangs, you're coming out of juvie halls, whatever
Wow.
that may be,
Wow.
you come work for me. My other half will be your mentor.
Yeah.
We have a nonprofit, so we do help at-risk youth anyway. We do have a nonprofit called
Right.
the Von Cleveland Foundation.
Fantastic.
And so our goal would be, I'll be honest, every Frisky business is going to cost you $250,000 to build.
Sure.
Something like that. The
Yeah.
equipment, the build out and so forth. It costs
Permits and
roughly-
everything,
yeah,
sure,
You're
yeah.
looking at $250,000.
Wow.
But how awesome would that be? There's 4,000 homeless cats in the Coachella Valley.
Yes.
We got a lot of kids coming out of the juvie halls for whatever reason it may be. The
Yeah.
formerly incarcerated as well.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be if I could have, say, half a dozen Frisky businesses, and we hire individuals with disabilities that are being overlooked, that employers
Yeah.
are not hiring for
Yeah.
whatever reason, but also the kids coming out of juvie halls that have already limited themselves. They think that they're defined by that one mistake in their life.
Yeah.
Or somebody coming out of prison and they think they're defined by their past. No, you're not. You come work for me.
Yeah. Wow.
And so that is
Wow.
my big, hairy, audacious goal. But as I say,
That's
each Frisky
fantastic.
business is going to cost $250,000. But again,
Yeah.
put that out to the universe. Maybe an investor will come along and help me. Maybe the lottery will have whatever. I
Anything
think
can
when
happen.
you've got a pure heart and pure intentions, it will align up.
That's fantastic. What I love that you said there was in the Coachella Valley. There's something
Yeah.
so unique about this place, isn't it? That you just kind of, some people come from outside in and stay in. Some people see it for one day and fall in love with it. They want to live here. And some people that live here want to get out. It's weird.
Yeah.
But overall, it sounds to me as if the Coachella Valley has the potential for a Frisky business, cafe style of.
Well, that's my goal. I mean, I still want to travel. I still want to see the
Yeah.
world. So there is, at last count, 197 countries in this world,
Yeah.
and I've been to 70. Okay, I'm a geek. I have an Excel spreadsheet with all of the countries listed, and then I've got it highlighted green, the ones I've been to, red, too dangerous to go to, yellow, still on the list.
That's a great idea.
I know, I'm a geek.
I love it.
I'm
That's
a
great.
type
I wanna
A
do
notebook.
that.
Fantastic.
So I still want to travel and see the world.
Yeah.
But my life is about legacy.
Mhm.
What is a legacy? One kid at a time that I can help, one individual at a time that I can help. That for me is success. How many kitty cats can we help along the way? And so forth. So
Of course.
I will have roots in the Coachella Valley. I ideally want to have half a dozen Frisky businesses. But I don't need to be there every single day at every single one. I can
Yeah.
be at the top, helping to oversee and put
Yeah.
the right people in place. Wouldn't that be awesome that I could
That'd be
train up
fantastic.
someone coming out of juvie hall and so forth?
Yeah.
And now they're now training the kids coming up behind them.
Yeah.
And so forth. you know?
That's it. I mean, and I just love that. I can see that manifesting for you. Best of luck with all that. Because I
Thank
mean, it's like you said before, right? Only you can stop yourself. So the only thing that's gonna stop you is you.
100%. And so literally, I got the idea, I've got the proof of concept with the business and so forth. The only limit right now is money. It's money. I can figure that out.
That's the best. If that's the thing that stops you, the best thing that stops somebody, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the easiest thing to figure out sometimes.
And we can figure that out.
Yeah.
And my ultimate goal is I want to be able to, in 10 years from now or 20 years from now, some kid coming up to me saying, "Hey, you changed my life. You know, you saved the trajectory of my life." That is my
Yeah. That's fantastic.
that for me is about legacy. It's not about, for me personally, collecting the sexy shoes and the handbags. For me, it's about how many kids can come up to me and say, "You changed the trajectory of my life by giving me an opportunity."
Now, I want to ask you this. So you foster all the kittens,
Yes.
and they're up for adoption. So if somebody goes there, you can actually adopt one of the kittens.
Yes.
And how did you manage that contact? Did somebody approach you with doing it, or did you just kind of
So-
round up the kitties from
No. One
Cats
of
the
the
Musical and
one,
say, hey.
one of the board of directors for the Palm Springs Animal Shelter. When I came up with this idea, I don't even know how he found out about me. Maybe I was at an event. I was in the newspaper quite a bit as well.
Mhm.
He contacted me and said, "Can I buy you breakfast?" I'm always open for anyone buying me breakfast.
Of course.
Yeah.
And
First meal, let's go.
Never met him before, and I sat down and had breakfast with him a couple years ago, and he just said, "Would you work with us
Wow.
for these kitty cats? Because we are trying to do great work. You're trying to do great work," and it was just a natural synergy.
My
So-
goodness.
So basically, the moral of the story is, if anybody wants to invite you for breakfast and you never
Go
get
to
it,
breakfast.
go to breakfast. Go do it. You know, go
Of
go
course.
meet people. Go, and don't go with the intention. I
Don't
feel
try
like
to
in
get some-
society, most people go to networking events or breakfast or whatever it may be with the intention of getting something.
Yeah, game.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Just go and meet a fellow human being, because you never know what that synergy is going.
Yes.
That's how I'm sitting here with you.
Yeah.
You sent me an email. Would I like to be on the podcast? I took a quick look online to make sure you guys were all on the up and up. Cool. I
Yeah.
have no
Of course.
intentions with this. I don't have a get.
Yeah.
It's just a pure,
Yeah.
honest conversation was my intention.
I'll tell you that is part of. I'm patting the shoulders of everybody in the new mindset, but that's the type of team that we put together here, right?
Yeah.
And from the top to the bottom, that's what we focus on, getting to know the people that sit with us and the people that work with us, including not limited to, but like Steph and Melissa, Mr. Marcolea here actually has the same type of mentality and fits everything so well. I'll tell you guys that, so you know, the people that don't know, we are sitting in a studio that's a live studio. And having you walk in here is such a pleasure.
Thank you.
And getting to know a little bit of your story and a little bit of your present is fantastic. Getting to know where you're going and those goals, they may be, hairy, but you got this.
Yeah, 100%. I'll figure it out.
I would like to ask you one more thing. There are people that start their dream halfway through, kind of give up. But I know that there's some people that kind of, I'm going to assume that you have this within you that pushes you to do more. What is that for you? Is that a thought, a quote? Is that an image? What is it that allows you to propel yourself instead of stopping and quitting? What is that for you?
It's a quote, and I will say, everybody live by this. And you're not going to live it every single day. Sometimes you're going to doubt yourself. But the quote is this: never limit the vision for yourself based on your current circumstances. Do not do that. Don't be like, oh, I've only got $5 today, so I can never do X, Y, Z in the future. Do not define your future based on today, because you don't know what's going to happen, and so forth. And so, but doesn't mean that's easy to live every day. I've had many times I thought, oh my God, I have to limit myself today. No, but you just pick yourself back up tomorrow, and you just keep believing it and believing it. Wow. And I think it ultimately comes down to what you believe the meaning of life is. And I personally, because everybody has a different definition of the meaning of life, I personally think that my meaning of life is to help and to propel others, I should say. And so therefore, if I have to get knocked down along the way in my quest for that, that's okay, because that's part of the journey. Maybe that means that I'm a trailblazer, and so I have to demonstrate what failure looks like, and that's okay. But that's what keeps me going, is that I don't think any of us were put here on this earth, whether it's God, the universe, whatever you may want to call it. None of us were put here, I think, to just come here, work our asses off, buy sexy shoes and handbags and cars, mortgage ourselves to the eyeballs, and then die.
Agreed.
I don't think that's the meaning of life.
Right.
I personally have decided that the meaning of life is we are here for one another. And so how could I live my life of service?
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Well, you earned your award, that's for sure.
Thank you.
The humanitarian.
Well, you're definitely a humanitarian. Well, wow, we are running into the last bit of this. As we sign off, what's the best way to reach you? What's the best way to find any information on the cafe? What's your social media handle? How can people get a hold of you?
So our social media handles, all of them are consistent. It's Frisky Business Palm Springs Cat Cafe. If you want to friend me on Facebook or Instagram and so forth, go for it. Look me up, Claire Rogers. Itopia, I think is, Claire Rogers, and Itopia, Itopia. I don't put too much on my personal stuff. You will never find out what I'm eating for breakfast or so forth. If I put something up, it's usually a meaning, it's a quote, or it's something inspiring that we're up to and so forth. I will friend anybody if you want to, but if I find out that you're posting racist stuff or political stuff, I will unfriend. You can believe whatever you want. I just don't want to see it on my feeds.
Perfect. That works. And then what times is the business open?
We're open Wednesday through Sunday, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Okay, fantastic. And again, guys, as you hear, we are very glad to have Claire here. It's been fantastic to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking
Yes.
some time of your busy schedule
My
to
pleasure.
be here with us. And guys, to everyone else listening, don't forget to check out the New Mindset OTCV, where you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all social media handles. You can also find this podcast anywhere you are. Don't forget to check out Palm Springs. Come to the Coachella Valley. If you get a chance to, wherever you're listening, stop by. People seem to like it.
Yeah.
And Steph, anything for me?
Oh, thank you so much for being in our show. You are a very inspiring woman.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. That's been Claire Rogers here one more time. And thank you guys so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.